Achala, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to coach you fucking real good. I've been waiting for this. I've been excited about it, thinking about it all day.
Me too. Me too.
Go ahead and let me know what's going on, dude. Let's start it up. What's the plan for today?
So last time you and I did a coaching session was a couple weeks ago, and I think since then, I think I have a better understanding of the game, and I know what I'm supposed to do. However, my ability to translate that into wins on the ladder has been limited, and so my MMR is basically the same as it was the last time that we had a coaching session. Saying that, I have been just looking at the replays, and I just realized that it's still kind of the basics. It's still not doing the best with my base upkeep and stuff, and so I'm trying to pay more attention to that and. Yeah, just I think still since it's still I'm platinum 3/gold 1, and so it's still just really making sure I'm doing all the basics properly.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, and then we're doing that little StarCraft tournament in a couple weeks with my friends, and so I also wanted to prepare for that, and so. I was thinking maybe we could come up with a little plan for my opponent. And he's a guy. He likes to play like aggressively. He plays random race, but his weaknesses are he's not very disciplined, and so he kind of lets his like macro behind the scenes fall behind, and he's not very good with detection and all that. And so as I thought about it more, I think if I just kind of keep doing the same thing that I'm doing, I should be able to win and just play a little bit defensively and make sure I get my troops up and the batteries out and just keep doing the B2GM stuff and it should work.
Yeah.
He's
Uh,
going to try some sneaky stuff, but I think, yeah, just kind of being well-rounded and a little defensive uh, should 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 work.
okay. Yeah. I mean, so do you want to do you want to the way you described it was his macro is kind of sloppy sometimes, and for what I heard at least, and he doesn't like to use detection. So did you want to create a build that would disrupt that, or do you want to keep just kind of sticking to the tried and true like solid standard?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I honestly think just kind of doing what we're doing because I don't, he sometimes he does air, sometimes he does ground.
Hmm.
The only thing I was gonna do is just try to mix in some DTs towards the end,
Yeah.
and those guys will just give me a little bit of an advantage. But I don't think I have to. I think if I try to do something different, it's higher chance I'll just mess it up,
Sure.
and instead just try to focus on the basics and just win with the basics.
I would agree with that. I think you should stick to I mean, if you want to win, I think you should stick to the standards as well because you'll just output a better game. And just because you play standard doesn't mean you can't win. Like if you effectively can play standard well, you'll win like almost every single game you play, especially if someone else is like playing sloppy. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it'd be fun to do something kind of sneaky and stupid, and win that way. But I don't know. I think there's a higher chance of losing, and at the end of the day, winning is always more fun than losing.
sure.
So just do it that way.
So you have do you have a replay today? Do you want to go over as well, or do you want to make something like progress on something else?
Yeah. So I think doing this like live match and then talking about it afterwards.
Okay.
Um, I kind of like that strategy.
Okay.
Unless you
Sure. No,
feel
that's fine.
like
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine.
okay.
So,
Um,
or go ahead.
oh, I did. I had like a couple questions
Sure.
that I just wanted to go over before we
All
got
right.
into
Well,
it.
before you ask, let me say this really quick because this is we'll efficiently use our time here. If anyone is around the like low diamond range, of what race do you want to verse specifically? What's your friend play? Or it just doesn't matter because he plays
He does.
random.
He plays random. Yeah, he plays
Okay,
random.
so anyone who's like just in any race, if you're like a low diamond range, if you guys want to help us set up a game,
Platinum, platinum, low
okay,
platinum.
low plat. You wanna
Yeah,
you
I'm
wanna
plat 3.
okay, we're gonna really step you up today, and we're gonna make you play a GM player. I'm just joking. No, we can,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna tell you how that's gonna go.
Okay, low plat. Sorry guys, low plat. Um, so we need a low plat player, and if you guys fit that role, whatever race doesn't matter. I might be able to pick you for the coaching lesson. But yeah, if you do want to try to play, log in, and then we'll connect in a second. And now, feel free to ask me whatever question you want to ask, Hindu.
Yeah. So so if I'm playing against somebody who's being kind of aggressive and I'm trying to do expansions, and I'm just like having a lot of trouble because I put it down and then they just come and kill it. Uh, I'm not really sure what to do with my probe production. What ended up happening is I keep making probes, but I'm not able to expand. And so I just end up with a bunch of probes over mining the mineral fields.
Okay, I have a question for
And so
you.
I was wondering,
I have a question. Or,
yeah.
or go ahead, finish your question. Sorry.
Oh, so yeah, so my question was, should I just kind of hold off on the probes and try to build up an army to like secure an area and build a nexus, or just go to the other side of the map? Like if I try to go south to expand, just go north and just build it up there instead, and just try to get all my probes there.
I would say you should just keep making probes, and you should just keep trying to expand. There should be no reason why, especially in plat, that you couldn't get an expansion down, and then having a problem where you just can't expand now, and like your opponent's denying you from expanding. And the reason why that is that way is because it's always the same answer. So I'm sure you've heard me say this before many times, but people in plat don't play efficient. They just don't. And if you just play efficient yourself with your units, like, or with like how you create them, I'm not saying with micro, but with like making them and positioning them, you're like automatically gonna be able to take your third base, no problem. So like here's an example. If you play against Zerg and the Zerg player is going mass speedlings and the Zerg is like really making mass lings all over the place, just keep making your units behind your wall, and as soon as you're ready to take a third base, run your units against the wall towards your third base, so that if the Zerg comes, you're not in the middle of fucking nowhere and you're not going to get fully surrounded. You're going to have surface area limitations because you have a wall on the side of you, so lings can't fly in space and attack you. And then once you get to your third base, tuck your units behind the nexus and the pylon, like put them in the little gap there like we've talked about before, and then have them like between the minerals and between the buildings, and suddenly you minimize surface area again, and you can realistically take an expansion against somebody who plays that way. Because if a Zerg is like really making it, like let's say he just doesn't suicide his units at all, and let's say he's just sitting there making masslings, and you're just making units behind your wall, and you're like, well, I want to expand, but this guy's making masslings, you will overpower him over time, because the only way a Zerg can do that is if he's not making drones. Like, you should have a better economy than him overall. And if you keep making probes and then eventually push out, let's say you take your third base 45 seconds late, your third base will not be getting like 6 probes or something by the time it's done. It'll be getting like 16 probes by the time it's done. So it's like going to just be a fully saturated mineral line right when it finishes. And that's fine. And if your opponent's, because again, you base your build off your opponent's build, right? So if your opponent is super fucking all in, he's not going to have like a normal economy now. He's going to be behind himself.
That makes sense. Okay, and then when it comes to the initial wall placement, if you're playing against a random opponent and you find out that there's Zerg, you basically make your wall out of your Cyber, your second gateway, and your Robo.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah.
And then what do you? Okay, and then what do you do if you scout and you realize that they're gonna do like a little Zergling rush? Do you have time to get those up, or what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, totally. You totally do. You make your Robo and your like, here's the thing. Your gateway finishes, and your Stalker is going to be starting around probably like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Like 2:25. Somewhere around there. And your Stalker is going to probably finish out of the gateway around like 2:40, 2:45, depending on how perfect your build was. 2:45 is like slow and 2:40 is fast for when your Stalker is going to finish. And then you make a sentry. And your sentry is going to pop out a little bit after 3 minutes. Maybe like 3:05 or something like that. And speedlings don't even finish until 3:30. The only way it would be something that could break you and be very, very hard to deal with, would be if it was a one base, like gas pool first into an expansion. Then his speed would be faster, and then you'd have more of a problem. And then if that was the case, you could actually take a detour in your build and just make a second gateway and a core and a third gateway instead of saving for a robo at your natural, and then make like a battery behind it. Because then, yeah, if you wait for the fucking robo, you're probably going to die. That's one base Zerg though, and you're scouting, so you'll be able to tell the difference, right? Because you're like you're not just scouting a Zerg who fast expands, and you're like, this guy's gonna have early lings. I know it. Makes no sense. If he's got fast expand, he's went hatchery first. That means he didn't go gas first. But if you scout his base and he's got no fucking natural, and he's got like 80 gas already mined out of his pool, out of his gas, and he's like about to start speed already then when you scout, well then for sure you're gonna get attacked like probably 30 seconds early. So you need that wall faster. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So you're more than welcome to make like a third gateway if you have to, like instead of the robo for early purposes. If it's like a one base all in for the wall purposes, because again you're playing random, so that's why the only reason why this makes any sense. If it was not random and if it was Zerg, you could still get away with 2 gateway and a core, and that's it. No third gate because you'd have those 3 buildings in your doorway. But again, this is it's random though, right? That's the only reason why this matters.
Yeah, that's where. Okay, cool. Okay.
Nice. Any other questions?
Those are my burning questions.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if someone's online. So if anyone's online in the Vibrator group chat, okay, there we go. We actually have someone. We have. We'll use wear a top hat. Actually, no. You know what? Or no, yeah. Let's use wear a top hat because he's platinum. The other guy's gold. Yo, Maldroit, I appreciate you logging in, dude. Thank you for the offer. I'm gonna use Mr. Top Hat though, Mr. Platinum. And he says he's plat 1 to plat 2, so it's gonna be a little bit above you at the moment, but it's not too much. Let's make this map. All right, and then yeah. So you're just doing B2GM essentially, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not gonna really tell you to do something else. I will just make sure your B2GM looks good, and I'll be watching, and then we can talk about it afterwards. And that's about it. I guess that's about it. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Wear a top hat. You ready? I'll ask him in the lobby. Okay, he's ready. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, PvP.
Yeah. And yeah, fundamentals are going to be the same regardless of matchup. So, making sure your build is actually looking good. All right, guys. I muted myself for him, so he can't hear me talking right now. But you guys can still hear me on the stream. And we will see how it is going for him. Pylon's too close if it's right there. Okay, good. That's good. That's it. That pylon's good. Pull a probe off the gateway. Yeah, good job, you did. All right, off the, yeah, you know what I mean. But good job, you did it. Well done. Make a probe. Good job. Don't forget the chrono boost. Nice. Nice. This would be that moment where I would say you could probably stack your patches as well when you're chilling.
Yeah. Trying. These probes don't behave.
Yeah, they're all good now, honestly. Just rally to the gas and you're good. Okay. Am I a referee? Can I pause? I can't pause. Fuck, I should have made myself a referee. I want to pause right now and ask him what he thinks this means. All it means, though, is that he's ahead. I'll ask him in the replay later.
No extension yet.
Don't forget your second pylon.
Oh, shit.
We need more artillery. Now, get him.
Okay. And then throw Chronos at your Nexus as well. Make probes. Chrono, you can chrono both Nexus here. There you go, nice. Then rally your Nexus to the middle line at the natural. Make another Stalker when you can, and you still have an idle probe at the natural. There you go. Nice chrono. Do it again on your natural in a second. Right now. Good job. I would say send a probe to your third base right now, and build your immortal first, and then build your third. And then after you build your third, warp into Stalkers.
Research complete.
Also make a third and a pylon, and then I'd say two. Yeah, good job. And now make two Stalkers. Well, make probes first actually, and then make two Stalkers. There you go. And now, because probes are always priority. And then make another pylon. You're gonna block again real fast. Probably even like another pylon again. And then make another immortal. So priority should be always this for you. Probe first, immortal second, Stalker third.
Not enough minerals.
Nice scout going out.
Not enough minerals.
Make another pylon again.
Engaging the enemy.
Okay, so it looks like you guys are doing like the same thing. You can take your gas at your natural now too, while making Stalkers.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
And get ready. In 30 seconds, you need to be expanding again. I'm not, I'm not muted anymore. I'm just gonna guide him through it because the build is kind of falling apart at the second pylon. So I didn't want to silence myself. I silenced myself now for just a second to explain this, but after I saw him delay the second pylon so late, I was like, I'll just guide him. I'll help him because I can't coach him shit if he doesn't, if the build's fucked, right? So I wanted to make sure you can help him do the build properly.
Not enough.
Keep making your units. Good job. Keep making your probes. Good, nice chrono boost. Keep chrono boosting more of your Nexus though. You need to chrono boost all three of them. So chrono boost your third. There you go. Keep making units. Immortals. Good job. Pylons. Saturate your third base gas. And re-rally all your nexus to the fourth. Keep making probes. Nice timing on your upgrades. That's perfect. Make, honestly, like 3 more pylons. Because your supply is starting to go up pretty fast now. And you're also about to explode your gateways here pretty soon. Only 1 forge, by the way. No second forge.
Okay.
Second forge is never do second forge in B2GM for bronze to plat. Okay, keep making your boys. Keep making. Transfer probes around. Fix your mineral lines. You have 15, 15, 18. Keep making units too, though. Group up. Keep making units during this. Don't worry about the fight. Make units. Your gateways are both ready to build something. Rebuild that nexus. And I would say expand again now. And the reason why is because you're at the next 2-minute mark. So you need to take another base now. Keep chrono boosting your upgrades. And keep making units. Start making zealots now. And make a temple archives. So zealot, archon, and immortal now is all you're going to do. Keep making probes. You're almost done. Yeah, you're basically done now. It's all good. Cancel that second upgrade. Honestly, like, it's fine. You can let it go. You really didn't want to have that second forge though, because like the fact that you have so much money, your build's fucked up already. Like pretty hard right now. Make more gates. Start chrono boosting your upgrades and chrono boost your robo with excess chronos. So make like 8 more gates. Chrono boost your forge and chrono boost your robo. And keep making units. Take your sentry and make 2 phoenix and scout both sides. Because you're about to attack, so you want to see where his bases are. So 1 go left, 1 go right. Nice, you found a base. Keep making units. Don't stop. He's not making immortal. Okay, so you should be attacking from top left all the way to top right when you attack. Keep making units. Now go, right now. I would say go attack right now. You're basically maxed out. Just make your last couple zealots. And while you're moving out, just go, go, go. And take your army. So make your zealots while you're moving out already. Now select an army right now. And attack on the mini-map or something, top left, all the way to then the next base, the next base, the next base, the next base. And forget about your army. Okay, this is kind of awkward. Yeah. Okay, the fact that you did that's fine. Just do it, attack him again. And now macro. Fucking macro here. Make immortals. Chrono boost upgrades. Chrono boost robo. Make your gateway units. Make sure you have nothing idle. And if your money's really high and you only have 12 gates, make more gates and make like another robo. There you go. Make like another robo as well. And expand again. Your next expansion is actually 40 seconds late. So middle right or something, or middle left. There you go. Nice expansion. Make another robo if you didn't do it already. You did. Okay, good job. Just keep pumping units as quick as you can. And make all those Templar into Archon. Chrono boost your robo. Chrono boost your forge. Good job. Keep pumping units. Don't worry about your army. Who cares?
Gas, but
Okay, keep making units. Keep making units. Get your upgrade, because upgrade completed. Chrono Boost your upgrade again, and Chrono Boost your Robos. You're making sure I'm here to go fight. So you made your base kind of fucked up. Your Archons can't really fit through anything here. So
Okay.
that's a little bit of a problem for you now. But just keep macroing as much as you can. No. Okay, keep probing. 'Cause you just lost your third base probe, so you gotta start probing again. And when you can, try to defend everything. Try to make units wherever you can. If you break though, then you break. Just keep producing as much as you can. Yeah. Okay. This is probably the point of no return with breaking because too many probes are dying now, and you're too low in economy now. So take this fight, see what you can do, and no, Hindu. So you guys both did B2GM. You were actually ahead for a little while though, but it kind of fell apart. So let's talk about this, and let's get to the bottom of it. I'll share my screen with you so you can see it on Discord, so you can see my mouse movements and stuff like that. But yeah, you got to be really careful about the way you built your gateways. So I know I say, just put it down. Fuck it. Who cares? Make it. Be fast about it. Honestly, that still would have actually been okay for you if you didn't have any fucking delay in any way in your build, and you were like pumping this shit like as fast as freaking possible. Because then you would just be. Because the reason why is because if the faster you get it done, the more you keep your opponent on defense. Because you're just being aggressive then, because you're getting to that stage faster than he is. But if you make your gateways like that you did here, where you gap them, gap it, like it creates this I don't know if you've ever played a game like called Kodo Tag or like Mouse Tag or Cat and Mouse, but like zealots and little units can fit through it, but big units like Archons literally get stuck and they just like have to go around the entire fight, and it's really awful. Or they get trapped when you're making Templars inside of there, because a Templar is as big as a Zealot. So Templars could actually go inside, and then you make an Archon, and suddenly the Archon's stuck. So not ideal. Definitely be careful about that. Just the best thing you can do is be fast about making your gateways like you are, but maybe don't super stack one base with them. Like main base is fine, but then maybe put like 4 gateways at your third, or like 5 gateways at your fourth, or something like that, like over here. That also worked. That would be fine. You can spread your gateways out a bit more if you want to. Or if you can try not just I would say just be careful about not trying to just like literally block the exits off everywhere of your base, because then you fuck yourself because you have no concave then.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about your game overall. Okay, so you scout, and then your build looks fine. Your Chrono Boost was a little bit late, but not a big deal. Just make sure, if you want to know the exact proper time to Chrono Boost, as soon as you make the gateway, immediately Chrono Boost this while your probe is coming back to build the gas.
Okay.
Or you could chrono boost it as soon as you shut the gas as well. That's also fine. Just the earlier the chrono, the better once you have access to making the probes. And then you make the core. Correct. And then you make the probe right after the core while your probe is moving. This is correct. Just remember too, as soon as you make the gas, immediately make the pylon after while maintaining probe production. So you should be thinking to yourself, I need to make a fucking pylon right now, right after the gas. Like that's like, because you're beelining it from the core to the gas, which is correct, and you beelined it from the nexus to the core, which was correct. Just remember, you need to make sure you make that pylon right after the gas too, because if you don't, it'll obviously mess up your build quite a bit. So like right now, you have a probe that's in production, and there's still plenty of time for you to make money here, which is nice. I think you got distracted by your scout though. I think the scout made you not make that pylon because you were like, why does he not have a nexus? And you started overthinking shit, and you forgot to do this. So this is something I wanted to do for you while we were in the game, and I wanted to say, at this point in the game right now, right there, what do you think he's doing? If you had to put your nose on, like, you obviously can scout more than this, but what do you feel like he's doing right now?
Making a cyber.
Yeah, correct. And what do you think that means?
I guess he's gonna go tech faster.
Now, he could go tech faster, but the fact that he's making a cyber core before you made or before a nexus, and you made a nexus before a cyber, the difference there is that you're more economical than he is, and he is more potentially aggressive with tech, like you just said, than you are. However, if you scout his mineral line like you're about to, and you see there's no difference in gas, then there's no tech that's involved either. It just means he's playing safe. Like, he actually is like paranoid about wanting to get that stalker out or something, maybe 10 seconds faster than you do, because he prioritized the core first and then is going to expand. But that just means that your nexus with probes is going to be up faster than him, so you will have a lead going into the game if you both don't do some type of an all into each other, which you're clearly not. And as you scout like this, he has mined only like 20 gas on this gas geyser, and he's only mined 4 on that gas geyser. So you have mined about 20 on one of yours, so your guys' gas so far is very similar. But now you can see he has 2 gases and a core before a nexus, whereas you have 1 gas and a nexus before your second gas and a core. But he's not. The thing is that is a trick here to understand is he's not fully saturating the gases and undersaturating his mineral line. He's still fully saturating his mineral line and filling up the gases as they gradually get, and that's exactly the same thing you're doing. He has actually no gas advantage over you yet, because he's not super saturating them. Because you can't do that with 20 probes. If you have 16 on the mineral line, and then you have 1 scouting, and then you have 3 mining gas or whatever, like, you can't physically be mining more at this point unless you were to pull off the mineral line. You know what I mean? So this definitely feels a little bit more aggressive, okay, than what you're doing. 100%. That's a good, like, if you read that, it's a good read, because this is a bit more of an investment than what you took for yourself. Like, this is a greedy fucking investment, which is, I like it more. I like your build more than his right now. But yeah, also you can see he is not spamming chrono boosts. You are not spamming chrono boosts. You guys both have only used 1 chrono boost, and how do you know that? You've used 1, and your nexus looks like that, and his nexus looks identical to yours. So you can tell that you both have only used 1 chrono boost. So you could also argue the fact that he might be starting to save chrono boost even though he's not expanding, which is quite like questionable to a degree. You're like, okay, is he going to play aggressive? What's happening? And then he's got a probe down here, which is kind of weird. It makes it look like he also might be expanding, and if he is, it just means that his build is less efficient than yours. So the fact that you leave your probe here, or like you come back with it or some shit, I don't mind this at all. But I don't want you to fucking spend a lot of time on this either, though. Like, this is not a big, because think about it like this. What do I always tell you in B2GM? If you scout their base and they don't have an expansion, what should you do?
Build a battery.
Exactly. Just do your build as fast as you can and just build a battery. And if they all in you, you'll have a battery and you'll be making units as like effectively. But so like this is what I'm trying to explain here, or what I want to make sure you understand. I don't mind that your probe poked around here a couple more times because it's just one probe and it's not that big of a deal. It's like a tiny bit of minerals. And it's only like maybe 10 extra seconds of poking or something like that. What I don't like though, if this happens, is if you start overthinking it and you go, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And you're actually spending time scouting, and you're not doing shit like building pylons. This is what I don't want you to do. You're overthinking it right now and you're fucking your macro up. And you can't actually hold something if your build's inefficient. Because if you overthink their build and you start disrupting your own build and it goes from being efficient to now being inefficient, you lose anyways now. So don't think about it too hard. Just go, all right, no gas or no natural, double gas, cool. Make a battery, like priority battery, and you did priority a battery. And I didn't tell you it was wrong because I agreed with you. It was fine. I mean, it made sense. I agreed with the fact that you made a battery. Your third pylon timing placement is totally fine. Obviously, your natural pylon or your second pylon was bad. And then you make a battery really soon after the pylon. Like right now, you make a battery. Or really soon here, like with this probe or some shit. I remember you make it pretty soon. Like before, there you go. That's fine. I would say, honestly, you could even make it a little bit earlier. But overall, the fact that you prioritize the battery before your gateway and robo, it makes sense in this game particularly. Because of no natural. This scout didn't necessarily need to happen. Because let me ask you something. What would you do differently if you scouted no natural still?
Yeah, this was not a purposeful scout. It was just because I clicked on his mineral line, so the probe goes back. I didn't catch it.
You never like took it back. So
Yeah, I
just
never took
going
it
back
back.
to go there again to that same one. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. That's just a simple mistake then. I thought you were literally scouting again because you were like, now I will say, scouting again in like Masters League or something or like Diamond definitely would make sense, but in Platinum, I think the only reason why I said it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, the fact that it was just automated, that's okay. I'll drop it on that one then. That was a good answer. You got out of that one. Okay. Just make sure you don't fuck that up in the future, because you make sure if you like scout the mineral line or like mine the mineral line, shift click your mineral line so he doesn't fuck up like that in the future. Okay, so your probe, scouts whatever, it's all good. Your probes were a little bit fucky as well on your natural for a little while, which definitely slowed you down. You had like 3 probes sitting there at one point, and then now you had that other one sitting there for a while too. But you're still maintaining a lead. And the reason why you're maintaining a lead, it'll go back up again as well in a second. But the reason why you're maintaining a lead is because you had a more efficient build than him. His build was not efficient. Going double gas and core and then expanding makes no sense. Compared to going, if you're both going to expand, you want to get that expansion sooner than later, because you are just having a worker lead the entire game. And it adds up over time pretty hard. So your build has been better overall. Make sure, like, stuff like this too, try your best to not have stuff like that happen. Like, if you notice you're sending 2 probes out, tell one of them to go back, like, right away. Because the fact that you're long distance mining this probe now, and this is still undersaturated, is not good. And then you're pairing that also with the other probe that just came back and then ran up here and died. And you're pairing that as well with the probes being idle. Like, these are all little mistakes that are starting to cost you a lot more than it should. Up to this point in the game now. That's a lot of little problems.
I return to serve.
Okay, so you scouted a 3rd. And you scouted stalkers, whatever. Your scout was fine. That was nice. Keep making your units. You're spending your money pretty well. And again, this is that point in the game where you still have a lead. You've maintained a lead the entire time, which has been nice. You have a probe lead as well, which means you're doing a better job of chrono boosting your nexus, which is what I want you to do. What is happening here? So you rallied all your nexus back to the natural. I don't know what that was.
Oh, I think I was just under saturated on the natural, so I just wanted to get it back.
Uh, so if that ever happens to you,
Mhm.
what I would tell you to do is I would say rally all your nexus to the newest base, and then grab your main nexus and tell it to like rally to the natural by itself afterwards. And then once your natural's done, then tell all nexus to again rally to the third base. Because the fact that you are going back and forth like this now, it disrupts your flow of economy, and now you're oversaturated. So you're telling probes to come back, and then you're telling them to go back again, and it's again this is another small mistake that is adding up with other ones, and it's a waste of your time. Hey, you're still maintaining a lead. I do think you honestly, this is not good though. You could definitely be chrono boosting your nexus a bit faster. Like you need to be chrono boosting your nexus like on cooldown.
I return to serve. I'm here.
And then you're not making probes right now. Here we go. You're making probes again. Your upgrade timing again, like I said before, was really nice. Your one thing you also struggle with a lot is pylon. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be as relevant to you when I'm not talking to you while you're playing. I know it's distracting as fuck when you play live, when someone's talking to you. But definitely what your biggest weakness this whole game, I would say, is your pylons. You block your supply a lot on your way to 200 supply. So I would ask you this. These are numbers you should understand. Do you know how much supply a probe costs? And
One.
Okay, correct. Do you know how long it takes for a probe to be made?
30 seconds.
12.
Okay.
Do you know how long a stalker takes to make out of a warp gate?
40 seconds.
There's 23. And then, do you know how long an immortal takes to make out of a gateway or out of a robo? Sorry.
I'm gonna go with 35 seconds.
That's like 36 or 39. I was actually wrong on that one. It's 39. So the point I'm trying to make here is finally the last one is do you know how long it takes to build a pylon?
30 seconds.
18. And then do you know how much supply a pylon gives?
Around 10.
8. It's pretty much, yeah. So these are numbers that if you understand these numbers, if you start memorizing them, they will help you a lot at understanding how you need to build pylons. And the point I'm trying to make here is if your probes are being built every 12 seconds, you multiply that by how many nexus you have, because you're making all of their nexus at the same time. So you have 3 nexus. So you're pumping 3 supply every fucking 12 seconds out of your nexus. And it's going to be even faster if you're chrono boosting, which is going to knock it down by down to 9 seconds a probe. So if you're pumping 3 probes every 9 seconds, that's half of a pylon. So if you double that, that's now 6 probes every 18 seconds, and that's almost a full pylon right there. So just on the nexus alone, you need to be making a pylon. Basically, as soon as a pylon's done, you're starting a pylon again. As soon as that pylon's done, you start a pylon again. Almost for probes only. And then for gateway, you need to be making a pylon about every half of a minute roughly to be able to support your stalker, every 40 seconds to support your stalkers. Because if you're pumping out every 23 seconds for supply out of your gateways, then that's going to be, 46 seconds is going to be 8 supply. And then if your robo finally is a 39-second immortal, which is 4 supply every 39 seconds, basically if you understand these numbers, it means that you roughly need to be making honestly making a pylon about every 12 seconds or so. So you need to be making a pylon. Another way to see it too is obviously, so that's just a reminder to go, okay, well, I need to be making a pylon maybe every 12 to 15 seconds just to keep up with this. And another way you could just learn it. Here's an easy way you can learn this, okay? It's like a back of your mind repetitious reminder. once you start your third pylon, try to remember you need to be making a pylon every 30 seconds until you start your third base. And then once you start your third base, you need to be making a pylon every 20 seconds. And then once you start your fourth base, you need to be making a pylon every 15 seconds. Like, that's an easy way to like to remember it as well. If you want to just an easy reminder like that. These are all numbers that like might not make sense as well when I'm throwing a bunch of them at you. You might not remember a lot of them, but it's important to actually commit these things to fucking memory. Like the cost of a unit and the build time of a unit, things like that are super important. Like how much does a pylon give? How much does it take to make a probe? These are things you need to know, because if you don't know these things, that's when you're gonna get someone that's like, I have no idea when I need to build pylons. I don't fucking, I'm blocked again. Make a lot of them. I don't know, but your pylon blocking, it really slows you down a lot, as I saw this game, and that will only hurt you in the long run massively if you let it keep happening to you, and it'll make you stay like low plat for a long time. That's going to be your biggest hurdle to overcome throughout what I just saw here. And if you're ever behind on pylons, literally don't be afraid to make like 4 at once. Especially if you're at a point now where you're pumping 4 Nexus at a time with still maintaining Robo Gateway.
Base is under attack. Mineral field depleted.
Okay.
The minerals
Let's see how, like, you're still ahead right now, overall. You're still ahead. But one of the problems for you, though, this is a problem that you have, though, is I want you to chrono boost your probes like crazy, and you didn't fully, like, you did a decent job. I'm not going to say you didn't do it at all. You did a decent job. There was a couple times when your chrono boost was, like, really fucking high, but you did a decent job getting your probes out. I feel like you could do it faster, though. But your probe count got up decently. But the problem you have a lot, I would say, and the same thing, Where Top It also has this a bit, is you guys are letting your money get so fucking high, and you're like both supply blocking, and neither one of you is like really fully maintaining your production as much as you could be. So really trying to make sure you make those pylons so you can maintain full production out of these buildings and your Nexus the entire time. No downtime as much as possible. Like if you have the money and you have downtime, you're making a mistake. Trying to avoid that as much as possible. And then as soon as you start saturating your fourth base and you start your upgrades, really pairing that with more gateways, like right away. So again, you don't make gateways over your units. Like here's an example I will give you, okay? Let's say you try to make your robo, or you make your council and your forge, okay? And your money is still 400 minerals and 300 gas. And your stalkers are only halfway off of cooldown, and your immortal is like only 1/3 of the way in production right now. Make like 4 more gateways. And then now, after like 4 more gateways, now your stalkers are going to be like almost ready to go in like the next 5 seconds. And then your robo immortal is like 3/4 of the way done. Now, if I want, let's say you want to make 2 more gateways again on top of that, don't make those gateways anymore. Take a second, make your units first, and then finish off your gateways. Make extra buildings in the downtime of when your units don't need to be made anymore, because they're already being made and the cooldown's initiated and shit like that. But definitely prioritize your extra production right after that, once you have your gateways being utilized, your robo being utilized. Because you gotta realize your probe count being finished needs to have a gateway explosion. Like you need to have like 8 gateways minimum once you're done probing. That's minimum. And then the reason why it's minimum is because it's going to give you like your initial round. And you could also pair that with like some initial cannon battery once you max out the first time. But you need to be pairing that as well here pretty soon after with like another 8 gateways and another robo. Or like another 10 gateways and a robo. Like it goes up pretty fucking fast. Because you got to realize, if you're at max probes, you're at max generation of your income. And if you've already made most of your buildings, these are costs you don't have to add into your build anymore. Like, especially the pylon one. The pylons are all there already. You don't need to make any more of them. They're done now. Unless you make like 1 more for a new Nexus for like a warp-in field. But you need to like spend your money a lot faster in the late game. Once you get to that stage. You both do. You both have so much right now.
depleted.
I return to
And then really be more active as well. I told you a lot this game, but make sure you do this yourself. Be way more proactive about the second you stop chrono boosting your probes because you're done. Chrono boost the shit out of your forge and your robo non-stop. Because if you don't do it, you're gonna max out on energy, and you're not gonna have you're gonna have way too much energy because you have 5 nexus chrono boosting 2 buildings, and that means you need to be way more active about timing it. And here's another question I would have for you: do you know how long it takes for a chrono boost to fully run its course on a building?
30 seconds.
It's 20. So these are things again that you should keep in mind. And if you have these like soft timers in your brain and you know the exact number of what they are, and you have these numbers in your brain where you're like, all right, I know what a chrono boost timer is, and I know subconsciously roughly what 20 seconds is. Just you could look at it exactly on the clock in the bottom left here if you want to, but realistically, I think most people don't do that. Most people just reference this every now and again, but they're not staring at it the whole time, which is fine. You don't need to do that. Just have like a rough estimate in your mind of going, it's been about 20 seconds, and what if it's been 18, that's fine. If it's been 22, that's okay. Just as long as you're not wasting like 50 seconds and then being like, oh yeah, let's chrono boost it again. Because then that's not good. You're wasting way too much time then. And these are things you need to get better at. Like this is the important shit.
Oh, yeah.
See, like right now you're still maintaining a lead. This is good. This is when I tell you to scout, because you need to go attack as soon as you get the scout ready to go, or like you figure it out. Also, I'm going to tell you one new technique. I kind of fucked you over, so I'll take the blame for this one. And I'll tell you how I did it, but I'll tell you what I think you should be doing, and I'll take the blame, okay? So I told you to attack his on the minimap right now. I was like, attack top left, and then bounce it 1 1 1 1 1 1 across the top of the map. What you should do, though, is you should attack outside of where his base is going to be, where you're going to attack at. Like, attack here, and group up your army first, and then attack, 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 attack. So I fucked you over. I did tell you to attack top left right away, and then shift click it right away, right now. You really want to attack and group up first. And the reason why is because your army is moving at different speeds, and you also are grouping up from warping in your units at a bunch of different locations. Like some of your army was there, some of it was there, some of it was there, some of it was there. Some of your units were like in your main, like your robo and shit. Like it was scattered all over the fucking place, which is why you have this massive line going out, and it's only getting bigger as well because you have a bit of a traffic jam coming on here. Like that pylon, the way you build your pylons is like traffic jamming you a little bit. It's like putting a little bit of a choke point on you. Instead of allowing your units to just blob out a bit more. And you've got this big line that's, you know, again, all the zealots are leading super fast because they're way faster move speeds. And they're all going to die before the fight really even starts. So I fucked you over. In the future, always group up outside their base and then go.
Upgrade complete.
And then at this point, you have you have 12 gateways and a robo. This is what I want you to build more. And again, when you build more, definitely don't build them in scattered formations like this, where it's like you're gonna just seal off the wall like we talked about. Definitely put like maybe like some back here, some back here. Just like do it in a way where you don't have to like line it up perfectly, where it's super OCD perfect, but try not to massively fuck over the exit of your base, essentially. Like this is the most exposed base that he's also going to be attacking first, as you can see, because he's over here too. And this fucked you over really bad. Also, I don't know if you ever warped these into Archons. Definitely warp those into Archons in the future.
I return to serve.
And then, yeah, like your base is just a bit fucked up. And then you have a bunch of units. It's ready to go again, right? And then like your chrono boost needs to be hitting these buildings, which they are right now, which is good. But the fact that you have a bunch of money right now is all it means. If you ever have a lot of money like this and you're not maxed out, like now we're much later in the game, it means that you have made a mistake somewhere along the way, like you delayed your gateways too long. That's all that means. So if we go back now to figure out how we could have fixed that, like back it up just a tad, and you go back to like right before you moved out, Okay, this game is like taking forever to load. Shit. Why is it so laggy? Dude, it's so bad. Okay, so like right around now, your money is going up at such a fast pace, right? You're making a bunch of fucking money, and this represents per minute, by the way. If you ever look at this graph, this represents how much you're making per minute. You are making. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you know how much a zealot costs?
100.
Correct. You're making 3,400 minerals a minute. That is the equivalent of 34 zealots a minute. And you don't need to build anything else. In terms of like, you don't need to build pylons. You don't need to build more forges. You don't need to build another council. You don't need to build another archives. You just need more production, obviously. But that's really it. And right now, all you have producing out of 3,400 minerals out of your shit here is 4 gateways. So far. That's you're spending 400 out of 3,400 on gateways. And you're spending 275 out of 3,400 on your robo for immortals. That's not very much of that. That's very little. It's a very little fraction of that. But then you have all these other gateways that are coming online here pretty soon, which is going to take you to a total of 12. But even with 12, you're spending 1,200 minerals with those gateways. And obviously it's not 1,200 a minute, but it's not enough. Because the reason why it's not enough is because you want to remax really fast. The whole point of B2GM is to stay maxed forever. And if you think about how much army supply you have, the ratio I kind of go for with production in B2GM, because you're gonna bank a lot of money because you're not microing the entire game. You're waiting for one fight and you're A moving. You're waiting for one fight and you're A moving. You're gonna bank a ton of money. So what I'm trying to kind of do for you is I'm trying to give you a situation where you can remax in 2 warp ins. So you need to have more or less like enough production to be able to make enough supply to almost hit like we're talking like 60 supply cycles essentially. Because again, you don't have to hit 100 supply cycles to go to 200 total because you have probes still. You have 80 probes and 80 off of 200 is 120. So if you divide 120 by 2, which is your army supply, you need to have like 60 supply cycles of your base. And if you have like 20 gateways and like 2 robos or some shit, that's like fucking 50 supply cycles right there, which is, it's good. If you're chrono boosting as well, it kind of makes a difference and it's good enough. That's great. And you'll definitely remax super fast. But right now you're having a supply cycle of something super tiny still with what you have. So you definitely need to build more faster when you have the bank, because you're going to max out so fucking quick and then you're going to develop all this bank here really fucking fast. So another thing to understand is this is something probably you don't think about, I would say, in your games. You probably don't think about how much money you're generating per minute. But think about the fact that if you're making a fully saturated base, that base is mining roughly about like 900 minerals a minute, okay? Roughly. So if you have 4 bases fully saturated, you're making about 3,600 minerals per minute if there's no disruptions in any way. Like no shitty mining going on. So if you know how much a gateway costs, you know how much a zealot costs, you're like, well, I can spend a lot more because I just, like, let's just say you go, okay, well, I just spent my initial round of zealots I have right now, and I'm going to be generating this much when I'm only going to spend like 1/7 of that when the next round is ready. I really need to add more gateways. That's kind of like how I know myself when to make more gateways, because I know that this is way too fucking little for what I'm gaining. Like, I'm not balanced. Basically, imagine that there's a scale of like perfectness where it's like your generation of money should be balanced with your spending. It should be perfect harmony. And right now what's happening for you is your scale is super fucking lopsided in generations, like all the way to the floor, and your spending is like way up in the air. So you just need to like find those sweet spots to like add in, like not disrupt your production, but you need to add in your extra production a lot faster than you are. And you also need to do it in a way where it doesn't fuck your base over, like how it did up here in the top of the base, of your 5th base or whatever. Because that definitely fucked you over pretty hard later on. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yep.
Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. You're a beautiful student. But yeah, like this fucks you over pretty bad because you lose a bunch of zealots. That's like 20 zealots that die right here. It's really, really bad. Or like 12 zealots or some shit. And then this was an awful fight for you when it concave wise. You still somehow won the fight though. And then his Remax fucking owns you right here. So this is another thing to understand. This is huge. This is actually another really, really, really big one. Make sure when you do what you just did right there, let me tell you what you just did, okay? I'm going to tell you what you just did. You just initiated an A move across the map, first of all. And then you lost a bunch of zealots and you backed up. And when you backed up, you selected the army again. And you grabbed all your new reinforcements to come meet you here again. So you remaxed again and you attacked here with your all of your units again. And you guys just had a bit of a trade there. And I would say if you ever notice something like this happen and you're making a new set of units defensively and you have some of your units that didn't end up dying aggressively, you have to realize that your opponent's doing the same thing that you are. So be careful about sending these units now into the fight because you just like the hardest thing that I'm trying to say here, I hope it makes sense, is you just sent all your reinforcements to die with this. And now you're going to send all these units to their death as well because you kind of took a bad fight overall, but you won that fight because all your reinforcements came too. And now you're going to throw all these units away and you're not even making Archons with them either, with some of your Templar. And you're now also starting to remake these units here. So what the point I'm trying to make is it would make more sense if you do it in waves and you don't mix match your waves together. Like if you have wave 1 go, whatever happens to wave 1 happens to wave 1. You're already making wave 2, but you took like a wave, like one of the cycles of wave 2 out of wave 2 and you put it in wave 1 as well. So you overstacked wave 1 and then wave 1 ended up winning the fight because of that. But now wave 1's super tiny. And now you're starting wave 2. And now you're going to suicide wave 1 here because this army is so fucking small. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like you would have honestly been okay if you just backed the fuck up right now and made this group up with wave 2. And then you don't dip wave 3 into wave 2 as well. You know what I mean? Like you just make wave. Like make a wave by itself and that's it. Like maxed out army is a wave. And the only time you should ever mix and match your waves together of like, okay, let's send it all, even though I'm remaxed and my army's still out there and like I'm gonna just like send more of my wave out there to help it. The only time that ever makes sense is when you're winning the fight and you can clearly see on the minimap you just like killed an expansion and you're pushing another base and you're killing an expansion and you're like, well, I'm maxed though and my army's not really dying, and it's not dying because I'm winning the game. So now I can just say, hey army, even though I have like 80 supply here and 40 supply there, meet up and go there. That's fine. Like these guys will go there first and then your 80 supply will cross the map and get there later. That's okay because you're already winning the game anyways. But don't do that with shit like this where it's like these guys are way out by themselves and then this happens right here where it fights his entire new wave and you're way fucking isolated here and you're making a bunch of shit here too, right? You're like all this new shit is just being made and everything's just dying because now you're throwing away like 40 supply right there. You just had a supply lead and you just lost your supply lead for no reason. Like those dudes were doing fucking nothing. And now your army also, this is something you do a lot too that I noticed. You're super staggered. Now it's okay to be staggered versus someone who plays aggressive with like harassment, worker harassment styles. It's okay to stagger around your bases with worker harass styles of shit. But when you stagger like this, where shit's so like just all over the place, it's not ideal versus someone who's going for like B2GM deathball styles where they're one big push. Because now what's happening is this army is going to engage his entire army and the time that these guys are going to come over. And your Archons are fucking trapped as well, like we talked about. So that really sucks for you. Like they're all stuck in different ways. But yeah, like this is your army is like, you're basically fighting. Like imagine if like two guys were punching each other with a fist and your opponent's punching you with his entire fist and you're punching him with one finger. Like you're putting one finger up and trying to punch him with that one finger. And then you like break your finger and you take your other finger and do that now as well. Like you just keep doing one finger at a time. And it's like not actually a fist anymore. Because you have like little sectioned off pieces repeatedly dying. Like this right here.
Mineral field depleted.
That Immortal, that Archon, and like 7 Zealots just died, while this was just sitting there. And then you have this massive traffic jam in your base too of just like fucked up shit, right? So again, definitely don't build your gates like this. Try to build them not so cluttered elsewhere.
They're attacking our base.
Like,
The pro.
throw them down fast, but don't fuck over your... Because what you just did here is you defend... Like, think about this. If your opponent attacks you and he's got a concave right there, what does your concave look like to respond to that? It's like 2 units right there and like 2 units right there. You know what I mean? Like, that's awful for you. Same thing like right here. He just killed like a robo right there and a pylon like right there. And if he has a concave all over this, how are you going to defend that? You're going to have like 1 unit right there and like 2 units right there on the side of the pylon. It's like you're just fucking over your positioning of concave if you have to ever to fight defensively. Super hard here.
Base is under attack.
But anyways, that's mostly what I think. And the last thing I'll say is definitely just try to keep the philosophy overall of B2GM. Try to just like, maximize everything. Make your probes on time. Make your workers. Make pylons on time. Make your army on time. All that's like that is the most important thing you need to do. But out of everything we talked about, how you feeling?
Feeling okay. I mean, disappointing to lose. And definitely made a lot of mistakes that shouldn't make. But yeah, I think I just underestimated the speed of the game. So,
I mean, something to say that's positive for you though is you're plat 3 and this guy is plat 1, plat 2, so he's a little bit above you, and you actually had the lead multiple times this game, and then you threw it. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. That means that if you fix how you throw, you're gonna do better, and you could actually compete with someone or maybe beat someone who is above you right now. That should feel really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Just really, all the things we talked about throughout this, and I'm not gonna lie, there is something to be said about being live coached. I don't know if you feel like you play perfect, but I feel like 99% of people play shittier when they're live talking to someone during a game. So it's a little rough for you to do it on the spot. But you're game to do it, which is, I mean, I'm totally fine with it. I don't mind it. But you did a relatively good job. It's just all the things we talked about how to fix. Definitely fix those, and like it never ends. Your macro, I'm not gonna lie, was not perfect, but it wasn't bad either. I would give you like a B for your macro in platinum, but a B is gonna take you a while to get out of platinum. If I gave you an A, I would have been much more impressed about like your timings of your buildings and like your timings of your chrono boosts and your non-supply blocks, stuff like that. I would give you like a low B because there was a few fuck ups, like the supply blocks as well would probably dock you down to like a low B or but yeah, very fixable. The only thing you did that I don't want you to do as well that we didn't say much about is I also really don't want you to make a second forge. I really don't like second forge. And here's the reason why. If you're spending your money as fast as possible, you will not have enough money for a second forge. You shouldn't have enough money for a second forge. But if you have a second forge and you feel like you have the time to make a second forge and make the upgrade of a second forge, you're lowering your army supply by a bit by doing that. And a second forge in PvP doesn't really do a fucking whole lot. Like I would rather you maximize your army production and get to maxed out supply faster while your opponent's like 20 supply below you or like 10 supply below you than you getting a second forge and getting 2 upgrades faster, rather opposed to just getting 1 forge and getting your main upgrade faster. Because if you have, there's multiple reasons. Again, the first one I just explained was money. If you're investing money into this, it means you're investing less money into this. And if you're investing money perfectly, you can max out faster. So your supply could be bigger, which weapon upgraded bigger supply is better than lower supply armor upgrade units. It just is for PvP. Secondly, there are units in StarCraft 2 that have effect from this. And the only units that get effect from this, realistically, like I'm I'm gonna explain something to you really fast. There's actually 3 reasons here. I want to tell you the second reason is actually important too, but I'll tell you the third reason in a second. Let me tell you the second one, which I'm gonna back up for a second and tell you something we haven't said yet. The more buildings you have that need chrono boost, the more you can't tunnel vision chrono boost on one building. So if you have robo and fucking forges, you're probably not going to be chrono boosting your robo and double forges because you can't afford all 3. You just can't. And also your council too, initially, because you make them together, right? So you can't do 4 buildings at once and maintain that. But the less buildings you make, like if you make just the council, just 1 forge, just one robo for now, you could chrono boost all 3, and you're going to struggle to keep that going the whole time. But then as soon as the charge is done, you then are only chrono boosting 2 buildings, which is way more easy to maintain once you have like 5 nexus. And if you do it properly, you're going to be spending like all your chrono down to 0 repeatedly while maintaining chronos like this, and it's going to give you more immortals faster and good weapon upgrades faster. But if you have double forges, you're going to be allocating too many chrono boosts to too many different buildings repeatedly, and you're going to delay, even though you might get like your armor upgrade is going to be faster, sure, but for instance, you're going to be like 2-2 when you could have been 3-0 because you're going to be slowing down chronos on your fucking weapon upgrade, if that makes sense. And 3 weapon is better than 2 armor. Honestly, even like 3-0 is better than 2-2 for the way you're going to play this game out right now. It really is. And now finally, let me explain the last piece to you. And this is something that I'm not going to ask you questions about. I'm just going to explain it. The only benefit that you get in your army is versus zealots. And think about what are the zealots doing in the fight? They're running in and they're fucking dying to archons. That's all they're doing. And an armor upgrade doesn't do a fucking thing. Even if you have level 3 armor, it doesn't do a thing versus an archon. An archon hits a zealot for 47 fucking damage. And the armor upgrade doesn't even apply to its shields. It doesn't even apply to its shields. But archons are deleting zealots like crazy fast. They're AoEing and deleting zealots super fucking fast. So the armor upgrade you have on zealot doesn't do shit for it anyways because it's dying to archons. The whole point is that it's running into archons, other zealots and archons, and all the zealots are dying to archons. And then after that, and now archons are now your new front line. Archons don't even have armor. They have 350 shields and 10 hit points. So armor only affects 10 HP of their entire health pool, which is like not even 10. It's like 3% of their entire health bar. It's so fucking small, or like 2.8% or some shit. It's super tiny. It's all shields for that unit. So it doesn't do shit for you realistically. It really does nothing. And then by the time, like, it would affect your immortals though, if like your immortals were fighting against zealots. They would have a little bit of effect there, but if you're playing properly, you should have a good assortment of Archon Zealot charge lot, and your Archons should be deleting the Zealots before... Like, if for instance, think about it like this. If your Immortals are getting hit by Zealots, there's one of 2 problems happening there. Either you sent Immortals first, and it was really fucking sloppy organization there for you, which could happen, or... it means that you're losing the fight so fucking bad that all of your Archons and all of your Zealots are dead, and now your Immortals are getting hit. And if that's how the fight's going for you, it doesn't matter if you have armor or not. You're dead either way. Because that means you just got destroyed in that fight. But yeah, armor doesn't do shit for you. Seriously. Like, Archons make armor irrelevant in PvP when you play Charge the Archon Immortal styles versus each other. Like, you can still get it later on, just to have it in case you actually have those moments where it's zealot on zealot or immortal versus zealot. But if archons are ever in the mix, our armor is irrelevant. And if you're playing B2GM style, archons are always going to be in the mix in the fight. And then finally, the last piece of it, immortals on immortals, armor doesn't really do much there either. They hit so fucking hard that they overlap the breakpoint of what armor would do. So in StarCraft 2, for people who don't know this, there are units that have... everything in StarCraft 2 has a set value. There's no percentages or something like that. It's not like this unit now takes 30% less damage. There's just exact values. So if you have a unit that has 200 hit points... think about this for a second. Just close your eyes and visualize the numbers. If you have a unit that has 200 hit points, and I have a unit that does 55 damage... I'm going to kill you in 4 hits because 4 hits is 220, and 220 is bigger than 200. Now, if you have level 3 armor, and now I only do 52 instead of 55, I'm still going to kill you in 4 hits because 4 hits then is 208 over 200. It's the same fucking thing. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with Archons and Immortals. They hit way too hard to make armor relevant. They really do. Zealots are the only thing that matters here with armor upgrades because they're low hitting, fast attacking units. But they get deleted by Archons anyways, and Archons are shield based. So it doesn't even matter. And Archons aren't even taking damage anyways because the Zealots are being deleted. Like, Zealots fight Zealots, and they all get deleted by Archons behind Zealots on both sides. So it really comes down to like who can remax faster, not who can make armor faster. That's why that's the only reason why I don't want you to get armor in this position, like in PvP. It's just in general in B2GM altogether. You really don't need a second forge in any matchup. The only one I've sometimes have talked about, I feel like, where you could was like Zerg versus Protoss, because you could get shield upgrades and weapon upgrades and like guard your base better by having your buildings be more tanky because of like linger on buys or some shit. Anyways, how you feeling?
So no second forge for any matchup, and just do weapons upgrades in the forge.
I honestly, you don't need to. You really don't need. Like, this is like it's something that like later on you definitely will go double forge for certain things, certain builds. But in B2GM, you really don't even need to. It's not. This is like this. I just wanted to explain something to you, which is why I was telling you like it's not ideal. It doesn't really help you a whole lot. But you don't like it is like if you do get the forge, it's not the biggest deal either. It's not actually the biggest deal one way or the other. This is not the one thing I want you to walk away from this lesson to remember and be like, that's what Vibe wanted me to learn. I would just say the thing you should focus on more is maxing out faster. That's what you should focus on much more. And that means not putting extra costs into your build that you don't need. Like a second forge. Because you could definitely max out faster. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense. So, yeah, so biggest things are corner boosting the Nexus, keeping the probes made quickly, making sure that the pylons are getting made so that they're not supply blocked, building gateways as we get into like the mid game to make sure that I can spend the money that I'm producing.
Okay. I mean, yeah, correct. It makes sense.
Okay, cool.
All right, man. Well, we have another one like in a week or something, right?
Yeah, 1 week. So yeah, I guess my only other question is in terms of like in terms of practicing to get better, is it just playing games and watching replays, or is there anything else you would recommend doing?
Efficient practice. Try to play people who are better than you. Honestly, it pushes you to play better. It'll make you be like, wow, I can't supply block because if I do, I die. Like playing people who are worse than you allow you to make mistakes and still win, and it makes you fucking lazy. Playing people who are better than you, if you can help it, makes you play better because if you make mistakes, you die, and no one wants to die. So it makes you it forces you to play better. It forces you to adapt to your situation. So that playing games is obviously the best way you're gonna get better because you have to have experience. It doesn't matter. You could do millions of hours of theory crafting and still suck dick at StarCraft because you have no experience. So you definitely playing games is by far the best teacher for you, but trying to make it efficient by playing good players and also trying to like actually learn the game while you do it as well. So don't just play just to play. Try to actually have like understanding of what you're doing while you're doing it. Like for instance, when I was quizzing you on the timings of things, try to learn those things. Try to start like go into a replay every now and again and try to commit these things to memory and try to actually understand StarCraft for real in numbers and not just what you think makes sense. You know what I mean? Because there's for instance, here's an example I'll give you. This is very real. Imagine 2 guys that have like a sniper rifle, and you have one that knows how to measure distance, and you have one that just kind of guesstimates. The guy who knows how to measure distance is gonna more often be way more fucking accurate than the guy who just kind of guesses how they're gonna shoot the gun. They're like, aim up a little bit for the bullet drop, and then I'll fucking pull the trigger and then see what happens. And then the shot's like way the fuck over there, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just kind of gauge off of that now. Whereas if you have a guy who knows how to measure, his shots are usually way more accurate. Just like how if you know how to measure your build in StarCraft, it's going to be way more accurate without having to make a mistake first and then fix it. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what's going on for you, I feel like, is you're making a mistake and then you're fixing. Like you're waiting until you have a problem and then fixing it, when you should be able to predict the problem and fix prematurely. Because you know numbers. That's something you should start developing in your build, because that's something you need in Diamond. So it's really just getting the feel for like when things need to be thrown down. Because like if you're like I'll say this again because this is a good rule of thumb to know if you're fucking it up or not. The second you max, if it's like your first max should be based off of a good timer. So that's max number 1. And then your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, whatever, your all maxes that follow should always be able to remax within like 15 seconds of your previous max. And if you can't do that, something's wrong with your build. And you need to like rethink about like how fast you're taking things. And if you have a bunch of money and you don't have a lot of supply, you're not macroing good enough. And you need to like.
Wait, so sorry. Say that one more time. The amount of time it should take to remax.
15 seconds max. Like 15 seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds maximum to remax your supply. And if it takes you anything more than 15 seconds, your macro sucks. That's how you should feel. Because it's if you're taking 45 seconds to remax with B2GM when you have 24 production buildings or something like that, it means you're not doing something if you're not able to do that. Like, for instance, you have 12 production buildings and you're like, wait, why can't I remax? Oh, I only have 12 gates and a robo. I should have 22 gates and 2 robos right now or something like that. Because this is all about banking tons of money. So use that money. And that's how you actually make this build feel good. And then you need to also be attacking like the second you max as well. Which you did this game, which was fine. But yeah. Feel good?
Yeah. Well, no, but you know, I have stuff to work on. So.
Well, do you have a question about something else now?
No, I don't have a question. It's just you know, the confidence definitely takes a hit when you just I don't know.
Embrace it. Let this be your fire inside your belly, where you're like, I played someone who was better than me, and I actually did better than him for a moment in the game, and then I died. I just need to extend that moment, and I can get better as a player. Do not ever play someone worse than you and think that makes you better. If you have no challenge, you will never improve. You need to be challenged, and you need to accept that losing will make you better. Like, you know how people say losing makes you a better player because you learn when you lose? That's fucking bullshit. That's not necessarily true. It's not. That's only half of the story. The reason why losing makes you better is because when you lose more often than you win, that generally means you're usually playing players who are better than you, and players who are better than you will force you to adapt to their skill level and get better. And that's something you need to embrace and be okay with losing. That's something everybody needs to embrace. So many people have ladder anxiety because all they want to do is win, and they want to get better as well, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like saying that I want to win the lottery, but I'm never going to buy a lottery ticket. Like, it's imperfect. It doesn't work that way. You have to fucking do something to get a result. So if you're playing people who are better that are making you lose, embrace it, and you will get better. And a month from that day, you'll beat people who beat you before. Like, if the more you improve, the more you're going to overcome other opponents that you previously struggled against.
Right. Okay. Are any of your chats, are they like a place to like see if people are on and want to play?
Wait, what? Sorry, say that again.
Like any of those like Discord chat groups that you have?
Like my streams Discord?
Yeah.
Is it? Say, like, what was the part of the question? I couldn't hear what you. Sorry.
Oh, is it like a? Do you have one that's like for people who are
Oh,
that want to play.
okay. You're talking about, do I have something set up for a community of like people trying to grow as players together and like play against each other?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I do think that there are a lot of people in my community that if you just ask people to play games, I'll make a fucking channel. Okay, I'll do that. Actually, I'll make a channel on my Discord that's like 1v1 practice games, and then you and people like you can go in that channel and type, "Hey, looking for a game right now, Diamond Zerg or like Platinum Protoss," and maybe you guys can play against each other, practice games. That's a good idea. I don't have anything exactly like that. It's just like chill conversations and stuff. But yeah, I'll add that channel into my Discord. So that way, because there are a lot of people in my Discord that if you ask them to play, they will play you. Like I see people saying that shit all the time to each other in stream chat, where it's like, "You want to play, dude? Blah blah, whatever your name is." I see it like maybe like 2 times or 3 times a week. People saying shit like that in my stream.
Okay.
But yeah, there you go, dude. I'll make a channel for that, and hopefully you get some good games going in. And again, don't be afraid to like tank your MMR, or like grow your MMR. Ladder also helps as well if you have no one else to play.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, I will post this to YouTube as always. I appreciate you as well. And yeah, I mean, there's only like I wish I could tell you more, but like more different things that are like way more technical. I try to tell you a lot of things that are technical here that we talked about, but it really is just fix the macro, simply put, and you'll grow as a player.
Yes.
All right.
I will continue to work on it.
All right, man. Well, have a good night, and I look forward to talking to you next time and going from there.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much, bud. Appreciate it.
All right. Much love, dude. I'll see you next time.
Okay, see ya.
All right, guys. That's been a coaching lesson with Hindu. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope it made sense. But I will see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. Until then, have a great night. Have a great day. Much love, guys. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.